And they said, once you've done your entire coursework, once you've completed your university education, you are a holder of a degree. Graduation is but a ceremony. It is not necessary. The Iebc used that decision to clear Governor Joe in 2013 based on his transcripts and his completion letter from the university. A lady by the name Janet Mbete challenged that decision of the Iebc. And the Iebc, in its rulings, found that Governor Joe was duly cleared to run. Subsequently, Iebc went to the High Court to seek enforcement of its decision. And the High Court of Kenya, in petition number 116 of 2013, did find that once you've concluded your university studies, you've met all the course requirements, you have all the marks for that respective course, you are deemed to be a graduate, and therefore you meet the qualifications specified in Section 22 of the Elections Act. That has been the law since 2013. That was the law applied to all aspirants in 2017. And that has been the law the Commission has applied in by-elections, including the clearance of candidates in the present elections. And that was also the law at the time when my friend Walter Mungare was being cleared. So the law has always been clear. There has been no change in what that law is. It only changes when His Excellency Jimmy Wanjigi appears before the Commission, and then they illegally seek to now move away from what is settled law on the definition of a university degree, that which themselves they had sought. In other words, Iebc is now acting in contempt of the High Court order. They are actually, the returning officer is questioning the decision of the High Court. How ridiculous is this? When they declared the other candidates based on their documents which were presented, they were applying that same law. How then do they now turn around at this particular point to disown the law they've used successfully in 2 presidential and general elections just because they've seen His Excellency Jimmy Wanjigi as a threat on the ballot? Now, we are not going to sit back and allow an Iebc that flip-flops on its own whims, an Iebc that disregards the rule of law, an Iebc that is not consistent in its application of the law. It is applying differential treatment to candidates. We did write, and I said yesterday, we did write to the Iebc on the 31st of May, 2022. And we asked the Iebc, we forwarded all our documents, we forwarded all our forms. Kindly get back to us if there be any issue with our forms, with our documents. As I stand here today, no response was received. Other candidates we've seen, when they write or when they communicate to the Commission on an issue, the chairman is very fast to respond to them and to accommodate their requests. Our letter of 31st of May, received on 31st of May, has not been responded to date. Why this differential treatment? Article 27 of our Constitution is very clear on discrimination. Why did the Commission discriminate against us? Because they know we are the campaign that represents the voice of the people. That is all that I wish to say up to this particular point. Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Let me not mince my words. I think, to be honest with you, we are dealing with a special purpose vehicle called Iebc. And all the signs are there for Iebc to deliver or to force onto Kenyans a candidate of their choice. Let me talk about 2 instances. Of course, it's very horrible that they not given Jim Wanjigi, my brother Ruben Kigame, an opportunity. At least in my case, I was given an opportunity and subjected to a very frivolous process. Now, I think Iebc has no capacity, to be honest, to hold this election. Iebc has said in the past that the election is a process. And if election is a process, then you must remain consistent. In my case, you know, I'm not a newcomer to this presidential race, as all of you know. It's my third time now seeking to be in the ballot. In 2017, on the 28th of May, 2017, Iebc issued me with a certificate to run as president. Last Sunday, Iebc denied me that certificate on the excuse that my degree certificate is not certified. Isn't that laughable? So I think we are dealing with an institution here that, first of all, is clearing the wrong candidates just because they do not want alternative voices like Wills has said. I'll give you an example. There is a candidate they have cleared called Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya coalition political party candidate. And I would like Kenyans to have a serious debate about this. A political party that is fully registered in Kenya must have at least 24,000 registered voters. And those registered voters have to be living persons, not companies, not corporates. The candidate that Iebc has cleared, who we know is a system candidate, is actually a candidate from a corporate body called Azimio. Azimio la Umoja party, coalition party, its membership is ODM, NARC Kenya, Wiper, KANU, and the others. Now I want us to ask a very serious question. Will ODM go and vote in an election? Because when you are checking whether you are actually in the register, the first thing that we did was to present our ID. The second person who verified whether I'm actually an actual person or not was the Registrar of Political Parties. How then did some candidate go beyond the office of the Registrar of Political Parties? Because you can only go even to meet Iebc to begin a certificate. Once it's confirmed, you are actually a fully registered Kenyan, and you are in the register of voters of party. So there is no voter called ODM. There is no voter called Wiper. There can only be a voter called Jim Wanjigi, Ekuru Aukot, Reuben Kigame. And that is the injustice that we are seeing in this election. So therefore, I think what we are going to say, and Jimmy will summarize on this, we are not going to tire. We are not going to allow our country to be mistreated like somebody's chattel, or we're not going to allow individuals to hide behind institutions. Personally, I'm going to make a case against each and every of those commissioners, because people cannot make decisions that are injurious to a country, to people, and then hide behind an institution called Iebc. And this journey is just beginning. I don't want to say much. I'd like to give my brother Reuben Kigame the opportunity to speak to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Article 27 of our Constitution 2010 says that it is not right for anyone in this country to be discriminated against on any ground. Just because you're a woman, you have a particular gender or sexual orientation or disability. I happen to be someone living with disability because of my visual handicap, but that has not stopped me from living my life in full. I have gone to school with bona fide degrees. I have worked and employed people. I have run a media house that I put up together myself. I have participated in the 2013 election in the Vihiga County gubernatorial race. And that particular election was actually managed by the Iebc, where I was an accepted gubernatorial candidate. Comes 2022, and I am not included on the ballot. The question is why? I have been included on the ballot before, but why this particular time? I rest it all on one person called Wafula Wanyonyi Chebukati and the commissioners and the entire body of the IEBC. Chebukati and IEBC are the most discriminating entity in this country. And I'll tell you why. First of all, they have refused to receive my signatures as an aspirant, even though I am gazetted, and I have approached them twice with the same signatures, and they have refused. They say I am late in submitting the signatures. A big lie. Because in the company of several other aspirants, we all took our signatures and copies of IDs on the 25th of May to Bomas of Kenya. And at Bomas of Kenya, I was received by their officials, namely Patrick and Ruth, who told me those particular signatures were not complete. They were not in their right order and format, that I should go and correct the format and resubmit. They did not take all of them. They took only 3 counties and said, go and work this out and bring them by the 29th. Guess what? I was there on the 29th with 2 big boxes of signatures from 26 counties. They refused to receive them. In fact, one of the security officers threatened to burn them. I was then denied access to Bomas of Kenya the next day when I wanted to see Chebukati to resolve this. But I must mention the incident of Sunday night, because I waited at Bomas from 1 in the afternoon until 11 at night. And I was told only Chebukati, my returning officer, could settle this whole question of receiving signatures. And so wait for him. I waited for him, and while I'm waiting for him, I'm asked for my email address. And at exactly 10 p.m., while I'm waiting in the lobby, Chebukati sends me an email saying I'm non-compliant. That is not just arbitrary, it is not acceptable, and that is not, in my opinion, the acceptable mode of communication to an aspirant. I must add and say, I was asked to go to Anniversary Towers. I did, and I was tossed from floor to floor to floor. Where am I going with all this? Simply to tell you that Chebukati refused to receive my signatures. And we asked for a meeting. He granted us on the 5th in order to resolve this. And I have witnesses in that room. He says that I understand your case, but my hands are tied. I would like to know who is tying Chebukati's hands. Which law is tying Chebukati's hand if it's a law? Chebukati said that there is no regulation, there's no direction that allows him, as a returning officer, to even treat me preferentially or with affirmative action as someone living with disability. Now, guess what? The nomination fee for presidential candidates is 200,000 shillings. For women, youth, and persons with disability, it is 100,000 shillings. So affirmative action is already envisaged, and he will not stretch that beyond the money. So I am here to say, Chebukati and the team will read the law as it is convenient to them. They will use regulations in order to sieve out those they don't want to be on the ballot. And I just happen to be one of them. So my message is simple. Our 2010 Constitution requires that every citizen who is qualified to run for office runs. And nobody should put impediments and obstacles in their path. That same Constitution says Chebukati and team are not supposed to discriminate against me. They have. And I'll tell you the worst aspect of the discrimination as I finish. He has gazetted 4 candidates. You all know them. He has also issued a list of those that did not qualify. Now, Kenyans, are you aware that I don't appear in the list of those who are passed as the 4, and I don't even appear in the list of those who are disqualified? What does that tell you? That Chebukati and his team treat me as a non-entity. They treat me as an accident. They treat persons with disability with disdain. And I'm here to tell you this. It will not happen, because we will not be silenced. I will be here for the longest haul to represent persons living with disability, and they too have a right to run for office. I must also say that the process of IEBC taking us to this next election must not just be, a good process. It must be seen to be an acceptable process. And so we are here to communicate this, that as the voice of the people, we will not be silenced. We will continue to speak so that the citizens get a better government, the citizens get a better country, and that the things that our oppressors, the things that status quo has refused to do, we will be able to do if you give us a chance. So help us, God.
Once again, let me say thank you. I want to thank my good brothers here for the wonderful statements they have made. Kenya is at a crossroad, once again in our history. We are witnessing something that we have witnessed before. This was the time when black colonialism replaced white colonialism. And this climaxed at the period of the multi-party struggle in this country. We saw during that period where we had a foundation of a very good constitution. Laws were brought in that continually usurped the democratic nature and the inalienable rights of every Kenyan thereafter. In fact, during the Moi period, I believe there were 141 new laws that were brought to subject the people of this country to a dictatorship untold. In 2010, we passed a new constitution, believing that we have got new rights embedded that people have fought for, believing people had died for. And we were very proud of that new constitution. And our prayer, come the 2013 election, was that there would be an ushering in of a new government that would ensure that the inalienable rights of that new constitution were going to be adhered to. And that the government that was coming into place in 2013 was going to be a government that was pro-reform to that constitution. It is evident to all of us today that this is a government that decided at the beginning it is going to claw back what we envisaged as the gains of the 2010 Constitution. We saw an attempt by this government to regularize and manage NGOs under new PBO Act. That fight climaxed in 2017 when we saw, after the general election and the debacle of that general election, certain NGOs and their offices being vandalized by KRA and the police. Oppression of the alternate voice. We saw, as an excuse for terrorism, that the government had failed to manage, draconian laws brought to a parliament to subject us to the previous Public Order Act that was very vicious in nature on our human rights. And that caused a lot of fights. Some of those laws were implemented, clawing back the reforms and the reform nature of the 2010 Constitution. They didn't stop there. They went on. Not only did the Supreme Court announce them as having participated in illegalities and irregularities, they literally pronounced the regime as having done a coup on the people of Kenya in 2017. They didn't stop there. They decided now the next target is the opposition. So my previous party leader, who was then viewed as the opposition leader, was swallowed in by the same people. And the voice of the opposition, as we knew it in parliament and we knew it institutionally, was removed. We have seen it further in the media, where ownership has been intimidated, where advertising of government revenue was taken through an agency so that it is apportioned according to whether you are articulating the government or you are anti-government, muffling the voice of the media. They then come back and they decide they are going to further reform political parties. And they hurriedly pass through acts in parliament. You have seen other special purpose vehicles, KRA, DCI, that were used even in the colonial period of Moi, start to be activated for the same purpose: muffle the voice of the people. And to climax it all, they put a cap on the registration of churches, so that now even churches can no longer speak. Churches are put in a corner. If you joke, we will deregister you. Now, we've seen this template before. And it is the template of dictatorship. It is the template, I want to assure Kenyans, that it was defeated before, we shall defeat again now.
Oh, yes.
Not tomorrow, now. The current head of state, who is supposed to be exiting, has decided he wants to extend his rule kinyume cha sheria ya Kenya, kinyume cha katiba ya Kenya. And all we are getting here is nothing else but a very vicious attempt to stifle any voice that is going to stop the path of trying to illegally remain in power, contrary to the constitution of this country. And we want to tell the current head of state, you shall not succeed. You shall not succeed in muffling the voice of the people and giving the people the voice that they want to speak for them on the ballot. You will not succeed. you will not succeed. These are lame attempts. And some of us here were ready for you. We were ready. We knew these things were going to come. So we are ready for you. Na muna bahati mbaya. Kwa sababu tunajua sheria ya Kenya, and we were ready for you. You can throw what you want, but we are ready for you. And you shall be defeated even here. Hakuna mahali ambao umeshinda sisi. You have been at it for the longest period, na umeshindwa, na hata hapa utashindwa. Utashindwa. The voice of the people is now beginning to be heard in large numbers. The people you are seeing standing with me here began individual contests and individual conquests. And over time, they have managed to gather more and more support. We are now speaking as more and more people. We know that we are speaking to the 48% that is undecided in this nation about what is being presented as the decision of 2022, August 9th. And we want to assure those Kenyans and many others, we believe we are the majority, that your voices are going to be heard, and you shall be on the ballot. Asanteni sana. God bless you. Asanteni sana. Thank you. I don't know whether my colleague is asking whether you have any questions, but we want questions in line with what we are speaking, so we don't dilute our message. So let's don't start asking us periphery things. We'll take questions that are in line with what we have spoken here. Yes. Emmanuel, zungumza. Good. Why don't you start?
Okay, so let me take like maybe 2 minutes to explain to you the process of forming a political party in Kenya. You go to a majority of counties, that is 24 counties, to collect signatures of registered voters who must be in the voter register. And those become your members. You know, that is the process. Only natural persons, citizens of Kenya with a national ID, are eligible to vote or to be nominated to run for public office. You're right. They amended the law. And I think partly that's what Jimmy was speaking about. But for personal interest and personal preservation. Now, because of the impunity in this country, people tend to be blind on some of the things that they do. It exposes their ignorance about matters law. And if we had a proper Iebc that follows the rule of law, there is no way a candidate from a party, coalition party called Azimio, could have gone beyond the office of the registrar of political parties. Because for a party to nominate a person, let's in this case call a person, but it has to be a natural person, you must be able to vote. Now, what is the membership of Azimio? The membership of Azimio are the various political parties. So if Azimio wanted to nominate a candidate, it can only nominate that person who is a member of that party. And the member of Azimio is not living persons. It's corporate entities called political parties. So I have no problem if Azimio were to give, say, NAC Kenya a certificate to go and run, or ODM to go and run. I have no problem. that, but they give the certificate to a natural living person who is not a member of Azimio. Am I making sense? Why? I know it's difficult for you guys to comprehend this because... Yes.
Let me explain to you using the company law. If you form a company yourself, then you go and buy shares in East African breweries, for example, or in another listed company. Using your company, not yourself as a person, you don't become a shareholder of East African breweries or that other company or Safaricom. Essentially, when you're not a member in that company, you cannot go in a shareholders meeting to vote. If you go on behalf of your company as a proxy. And that is why you see in the Political Parties Act, coalitions do not field a candidate. Because the Constitution under Article 99 and Article 37 only envisages candidates from political parties and independents. You remember when they closed the register on March 26, you could not hope after the nominations to another party. Azimio had no register to close because its membership is corporate, meaning these are legal persons. Once they are legal persons, they can't run. So the question here is, when we went for nominations at the Bomas, the first desk, you are providing your ID. They verify you have the original ID. They check on your face whether you are the same person, they confirm. The next desk was the registrar of political parties. They enter your ID number and see Ekuru Aukot is in third way, Miruru is in third way. Then the proposers and seconders the same way. So how did he establish that Raila Odinga was a member of Azimio? Because he is not. He's the party leader of ODM. We agree that ODM is a member of Azimio, but him as a person cannot, through a corporate entity, become a member of Azimio. Are we together? No. Huh?
I think what you are talking about is there is a political coalition, then there is a coalition political party.
Okay.
Azimio is a coalition political party, and that's why Raila is running as Azimio presidential.
Let me explain to you.
Ruto is running under UDA, but is under.
Yes, that is true. Let me explain to you here. Coalitions do not field candidates. They have never done that. Even in 2017, Raila Odinga ran on ODM ticket. Kalonzo was on Wiper. Are you getting me? Because political parties are the ones which field candidates. Because the Constitution has only two kinds of candidates. So now Azimio is both a coalition and a political party. The problem here is, once you are in another party, you cannot be in two political parties at the same time. That is the law. You cannot be a member of two political parties at the same time. So when we are explaining this is that, if you are a member of ODM, you cannot be a member of Azimio by law. You must resign from one party. So there's no way a party, especially where you are not even registered as a member, you can use it to run.
It's common sense.
It is common sense because you can't be a member in two parties.
I think that's clear. now, I think you're seeing the problems we're having. When you are using different parameters over the same matter, you raise questions about impartiality, about the rule of law, and its application. Now, Emmanuel, you asked me a question. Let me ask Willis, my good deputy, to answer.
Let me say this, Emmanuel. As I said, we are a country of rule of law. Iebc has applied the law on university graduates since 2013, and they cleared candidates. To confirm their position, they went to the High Court, and they got a High Court order enforcing their decision that once you've concluded all your coursework, once you've met all the grades that are required and you have a completion letter and the university has satisfied you itself as to your qualification, you are deemed to be a graduate. You've met the criteria. And that is what they've used subsequent from 2013 to clear candidates. So even when they cleared Nyambane on 28th, it was on the basis of that settled law. We did not snitch on anybody. We merely brought to their attention the operating law that they were using. But because they were caught flat-footed, because they had thought they were going to stop us without a legal basis, we brought to their attention the law that exists, the law that the High Court has said exists, the law that themselves have also used previously. So to try to clean face, they now helplessly take on Mr. Walter Nyambane, who has been lawfully cleared, because he had been lawfully cleared as a candidate. Because when he appeared before the commission, the process is very laborious. They check each and every document. Nyambane did not present any forgery. He presented legitimate and genuine documents which confirmed he had concluded his university education. Then, applying the law as enforced by the High Court, Iebc cleared him. But now, because they want to justify where they're locking out His Excellency Jimmy Wanjigi, they now turn back and recall Nyambane without even giving him a hearing. Again, please, let's be honest. The right to be heard is sacrosanct. Everybody must be given a hearing. Everybody must be given an opportunity to present their case. And if they did, that's natural justice. We are going to fight this to the end. I promise you a legal battle never seen in this side of the tropics. We will fight all the way. And I will use all my legal acumen. I will go to all the courts. I will quote all the laws. I will produce all documents from Iebc itself, confirming how they have always applied the law in regard to qualifications. They cannot change at this particular point.
Yes, on your point, before you leave the photo, you say that once you have your transcript and you completed your course,
Yes.
you should be seen as a graduate.
Yes, yes.
Does it work that way? Because I will ask you, when people are going to graduate, before you are conferred a degree,
Yes.
you are called a graduate.
Yes.
Then after you've been conferred a degree,
Yes.
so that's when you become a graduate.
Yes.
So where does it apply that when you have the transcripts and you completed your coursework, then now you are a graduate?
You know what you're saying are exactly the points which were raised in the case before the High Court. Exactly. The definitions you are saying in 2013. All those who are discussed, the definition of a graduate, I'll give you the judgment when we leave here. And the court says, once you have concluded your coursework, you are deemed to be a graduate. That is what the court of law has said. If you have a problem, let me just finish. If you have a problem with that court order, right, which anybody can have a problem with that court order, we are a country of rule of law. There is a process to challenge it. But before that court order is challenged and overturned, it is the law. That is the legitimate expectation.
Just like the rule.
Now, any other question? Any other question? Who are you? Who are you? Sorry? No, I think we've got to be very clear here on what we're trying to achieve. I think Willis has articulated a position that is clear for all Kenyans about discriminatory treatment from an institution we are calling a special purpose vehicle. I think let's leave it at that, because if we start getting into some of these side shows here, we're going in the wrong direction. Let's get some focus questions. But I think as we are talking, no, even, I think we have mentioned and we have said what we wanted to say today. I think we've been very clear about our intent and what we are calling the voice, that you're going to start hearing the voice of the people of this country. Asanteni sana.
Listening to all the speakers, it seems that we are alluding to somebody in a high office that is trying to block you from right. Who do you have in mind?
I think I've been very clear that my candidature seems to be bothering one particular person. And that person is Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. It bothers him. And I want to be categoric that he has tried before and not succeeded, and even now he will not succeed. I think you should ask him that question. I think because now I have made the allegation, I think you should ask him that question. Because he has used every special purpose vehicle at his disposal to do nothing else ever since he got to power, to frustrate the very one person who helped him get to that power to save his neck. So I think you should ask him. Say, I have made an accusation, yes, and ask him to answer. Asante sana. Thank you all very much. I think Willis, you didn't say, Willis,
The lady. Let's give the lady.
you didn't mention what we're doing.
As I said, I've promised IEBC a legal battle royale. We'll come with all our armor and all the laws and all the documents that they've used previously to confer on people registration as candidates. We will start from themselves. We'll give them a first opportunity to correct their mistakes. If they don't correct their mistakes, we will use, and we believe in the rule of law, we will use the law to challenge every single decision that IEBC will make. But we do believe that if IEBC is minded to apply the law, we should not even be, they should be inviting us at this point that we made a mistake, come, we correct it. They should not wait for us to appear before them, because they have applied this law. They have been parties to court cases where this law was applied. They cannot turn at this particular point, but we will vigorously fight it in court until the end.
Gentlemen,
One question.
Let's give the lady.
One
There's a
question.
lady.
Yes, she's
Yeah,
here.
please.
Yes.
So you talked about Kenyatta being against your candidature, and you've been quoted saying that the government, you are part of the forming of this government. So are you Ruto's project?
I don't know why you're calling me a project of an individual. I seek to be the project of majority of Kenyans. Of majority of Kenyans. As I said, and I was talking also on behalf of my colleagues here, started this journey alone. And along the way, we have picked up supporters, a lot of supporters. And we are clear where we are going. We are clear what we want to say. I think you have heard us. And I want to assure you, I just want to be the project of the people of Kenya, not an individual. Not an individual. Willis.
I mean, there are timelines. There are timelines for the university is Daystar University, and we have met all the requirements for the conferment of a degree from Daystar University. And Daystar has issued correspondence to that effect, and the Commission of University Education has also issued communication to that effect, confirming the grades and the course that was taken.
Which one?
We will provide you with the letters.
No. I don't want us to go there.
There?
Yeah.
What are these other issues you have raised?
No, we'll only raise the issue. We'll only raise the issue on our petition. We'll only raise the issue of the degree because the other issues we had administratively addressed all of them.
If the court fails to give you a ruling that maybe is
Battle royale, battle royale. A battle royale, there is no room for failure. In a battle royale, you must win.
He wants a question answered.
when are you moving forward?
No, there is a process.
There's a process. We must file the case before the 9th of June. So hopefully we'll file today or tomorrow. Okay? The legal team is working on
As
the
for me,
paper.
I'm already in court.
Thank you very much, all of
and,
you.
we are-
Appreciate it.
We are seeking conservatory orders to stop the process until this issue of discrimination is taken care of.
Asante.
Thank you.